Hello, my name is Bryce Tubbs. With me today is Paul McNeal, and he's the Chief Executive Officer at TMS. I'm super excited to be able to get into his story and really just learn some great value from him today. Thank you so much for coming on the show today, Paul.
Hey, you're welcome, Bryce.
Now, before we go any further, for those watching, if you're watching this from any location that is outside of our free community, I just want to personally invite you inside. It's taken a very long time to foster such a positive community. So if that's you, click the links either above or below. Join us inside right now. Now, Paul, what was life like before you got into, condos, crypto, and speaking? What was the catalyst that brought you into those spaces?
Well, I've got a crazy background history, and I'll just give you the really quick cliff notes of it. But, I graduated high school. I was working fast food restaurants, worked in Dairy Queen, McDonald's, Domino's Pizza, parts stores, you name it. As I was going to work at McDonald's, the military snatched me up, so to speak. I served 10 years in the United States Navy, submarine force, loved it, a lot of experience there that I gained from there, both in the actual technical skills, but also in the soft skills, knowing how to get up on time, knowing how to show up on time, knowing how to have initiative, those types of things. After I got out of the military, I went to go work for a government contractor for a couple of years. Then I shifted over to the government side for about a year, and then I made my exit into entrepreneurship. A good friend of mine, roommate of mine, started a business. I joined him. We ran that business for about 8 years together. I made a successful exit. He kept it, merged it with another company, wound up selling it probably about a year ago. And then that led me on my own path of being my own entrepreneur. I had my own business, ran it by myself, and I still do to this day as a consultant in various different areas. And then recently I assumed the position of CEO for TMS.
Nice. That's a lot of experience. Wow. When you're telling me all the different restaurants that you worked on, I was like, man, maybe he'll own a restaurant one day. I don't know.
That was my goal. It just never did make it.
Yeah, well, not yet. You're not done yet, right?
Yeah, not done yet.
Shoot, I mean, because once you keep making more, you'll have to diversify somewhere. So, hey.
That's right.
Let me ask you this question. So, the soft skills, right? How a lot of people watching are either consultants or coaches, or they're in some sort of sales. And those soft skills, are really important when it comes to either landing clients or just building relationships in general. Can you maybe talk about, as a consultant, how those soft skills have kind of helped you?
Enormously. When I was in the military serving on board the USS Aspro, I came across the book that many of your listeners, watchers probably have heard of, and that's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That book transformed my life. It transformed the way that I operated. And through those habits, I've developed a lot of really good soft skills. And as I said before, probably one of the best soft skills you can have is the last 3 habits talks about it. And that is that you have to, think win-win, having that positive outlook in trying to develop relationships with other people, seeking first to understand before being understood, teaches you empathy and how to address other people and understand where they're coming from. And that's huge when you're networking and trying to establish business with clients, because the first thing you want to know is, do you care? And do you care enough about them to provide service to their organization? And then the last one is synergize. That is that not what I think, not what they think, but what we think together is greater than what either of us could have, come up with on our own. So those soft skills that I've learned through 7 Habits, as well as through the military, definitely boosted my business.
Interesting. So if you guys don't have that already, go pick it up.
Exactly.
That's actually really, really important. Here's an interesting thing, right? So a lot of people, they don't really understand follow-up / rejection. So like for example, they'll do some sort of call with a potential client and the person will say no, but then they either never follow up or they take it super personally, or, just that area kind of is a big issue for the coaching and consulting space. Maybe talk about that and how to go about that.
Absolutely. And I had to learn this, and it was probably the best lesson I've ever learned, is that not everyone is your target audience. Not everyone is the client that you want. And when someone tells you no, that's the best answer you can get. Why? The faster you can get to no, the faster you get to someone who will give you a yes. And so when people tell me no, I'm okay with that. I would rather you either say yes or no, but do not give me a maybe or a sort of. We're just wasting time, right? So that's the way it's helped me out. And what I've also understood is that if I can communicate the benefit that I bring, I will get to that yes or no faster.
Mm, that's interesting. Let me ask you this question. So, we're kind of in this quarantine time. Some people can leave, some people can't leave. What has been your biggest takeaway from this time, either on your business or your personal life in general?
Yeah, the biggest takeaway is that what I thought all along is actually correct. As I said, the military has taught me so much. So living on a submarine, you can only imagine. We're quarantined. We're quarantined for months on end. As a matter of fact, someone asked me, "Hey, what's the longest you've been underwater?" No, son. I told them 3 months. And for us, that was unique because I was on a fast attack sub. We're used to going out to sea for a couple of weeks and popping up at a port, going out to sea for maybe a month. I mean, so maybe a month and then popping up. But this time we wind up going out on a project and we were stationed there. And unfortunately, something happened and we couldn't leave and depart like we normally do. So we were there for about 3 months, and that was very unusual for us. But what this quarantine has taught me is that the skills that I learned in the submarine force served me well. In addition, my first business that I went into with my friend that I mentioned before, we ran a solely remote business. This was back in 2003, and I was talking to him just the other day, and I was like, we were trailblazers. We were actually trendsetters because myself and him, we worked in the DC area, but all of our staff was in Kansas. We recruited students out of the University of Kansas and Kansas State University. And as a result, we were already doing that. And we joked, we talked about how people use Slack and Zoom and stuff like that. We go, man, we were using AIM Instant Messenger back in the day. We used to make fun of all our college students' screen names because they were some far out there names. But we ran our business that way, and it was great.
That's so maybe for someone who hasn't quite adjusted to that online, kind of work environment yet, and they have their own business with, a small staff. Maybe can you give them some tips or what's the most important thing when managing a remote team?
Yeah, one of the key tips that I can give you is that first, it is the people. The people matter more than anything. And there are some people that can't work remote. Listen, my business partner, climbing the walls, he could not. He had to get out and go somewhere. As a matter of fact, we worked from home for the first 3 years of the business. Finally, he couldn't take it anymore. He said, we got to get an office. I was like, but Jeff, we don't have any clients to come to. We got to get an office, man. I got to get out of the house.
Yeah.
So I will say for those that need to get out, find a location you can go to. And I know everything is sort of shut down due to the quarantine, but if you can find a space outside that has some Wi-Fi, even outside of a Starbucks that has some Wi-Fi outside seating, sometimes you do. You have to break the home environment, get out, go somewhere else to work if that works for you. But if you are working from home, some tips is you've got to get rid of the distractions. And those distractions can be TV, the pets, the kids, whatever. Find a space in your home where you can quarantine yourself off from everyone else to focus for a certain period of time. And then there are some folks that have recommended using your phone and your calendar to set times for when you take breaks. You got to get some breaks in there. So know when to break away from the work, give yourself some time to breathe. I don't care if you have to do some jumping jacks, some push-ups over to the side, and then come back and re-engage.
Yeah. That's key. Here's another thing, right? So maybe another benefit you can talk about for the breaks is how to manage either anxiety or overwhelm.
Yep. When you're dealing with anxiety or feeling overwhelmed, there's a great book by Dr. Susan Jeffers. It's called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. Dr. Susan Jeffers. And what she says in the book is remind yourself of 4 keywords. I can handle it. No matter what comes your way, tell yourself you can handle it. Because the reality is you can. You can handle a lot more than you think you can. And when you're feeling either where you have anxiety or you feel like, oh, it's too much. I also read another book and I don't remember the specific name of it, but you got to get a win. Find a way to get a quick early win. And I don't care what that's for. Back in the day, I used to shoot some videos for an organization I was part of. And the person I used to shoot the videos, kid you not, He would write down everything we were supposed to do. And if we did the first thing, he would put big check marks next to it. He'd do it over and over again. And I asked him, why do you do that? He says, because you need to give yourself credit for getting things done, because that motivates you to get more done. Mm-hmm. And so each time we would do something, he goes, that was good, check, 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 check. And so if you're at that type of position, make sure not to get overwhelmed, but get an early win. Make sure you give yourself credit for it. Take some time to break away, relax, breathe, regroup, come back, and do it again.
That's a very important thing. Like oftentimes, especially when the quarantine broke, I was getting messages like, "How can you handle working from home all the time?" It's like I can't. It's just like if they don't take that break, then it's like it's hard to explain. But yeah. But let me ask you this question. You've named a couple different books. How important has reading been to kind of your overall development and just your growth?
It's been huge. They say leaders are readers, and that's something that I truly believe, because here's the thing is that there are a lot of really successful people that have gone before us, and they've penned some of their wisdom in these books. And so when you pick the books up, it can help you out a lot. And I know sometimes it can be challenging to sit down and focus and read. Sometimes I read the actual book. Sometimes I listen to it on audio. Sometimes I listen to a lot of YouTube videos while I work. And some people are not that way. They can't sort of multitask. I like sometimes having things on the background while I'm working, because rather I'm intent on listening to it, or if it's just seeping in, I feel like I'm still sort of getting it, and maybe listen to it a couple of times. But both reading and listening to audio, I think, are great things to do book-wise.
Nice. Where can people go to learn more about you, or where can they go to connect with you further?
I love social media. Twitter, if anyone's ever on Twitter, _crypto_curator is my handle there. And outside of that, LinkedIn, I'm always on LinkedIn, doing professional networking, connecting, participating in groups, things of that nature. So if you find me on LinkedIn, my name, Paul McNeal, McNeal. You can find me on LinkedIn, or Twitter is a great place.
Excellent. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate talking to you and getting to know you a little bit better.
Hey, you're welcome, Bryce. I appreciate it.
Excellent. And, for those watching, if you're watching this from any other location outside of our community, I just want to personally, once again, invite you inside. It's taken a very long time to form such a great mastermind of people actually want to see you succeed. There's a lot of books and a lot of just people talking about the concept of birds of a feather flock together, and you are the average of the people you spend the most time with. So come and join us inside the community, improve your life. Click the link either above or below. We'll see you inside. Now, hopefully you enjoyed watching this as much as we enjoyed creating it. Feel free to hit the share button so other people can get some great value as well. Have a great day. Talk to you soon. We'll see you later. We're done recording in 3 and 2 and